as you're coming into a longer cycle trough, Sentient Trader will keep trying to make the most aggressive trade possible. It's a very important thing that you understand about the live analysis system, that it is using settings which make it take the most aggressive possible trades all the time. We did that really just to make it entertaining, so that so you get to see lots of trades. There would be nothing more boring than the live analysis system if it only took a trade every 4 hours. So we thought, well, let's make it as exciting as we possibly can, and make the most aggressive trades. What do I mean by the most aggressive trades? Well, let's have a look at what it's doing at the moment. It's looking for a 5-hour cycle trough. It's expecting one, as you can see from this, from what we call a nest of lows. This whole inverted smokestack or inverted triangle here at the bottom of the chart. That's a nest of lows. That means that that we are expecting a trough of the 5-hour cycle, and Sentient Trader is trying to find it. Sentient Trader is trading the 1-hour cycle using on the live analysis system. It's trading the 1-hour cycle. So what it's doing is it is wanting to take a long trade, of course, as price bounces out of this 5-hour cycle. And what do I mean by the most aggressive trading strategy possible? Well, we would only have evidence that the 5-hour cycle trough had occurred once price crossed some of these FLDs and VTLs, these lines that are plotted here, which I'll speak about in a moment. Once price crosses those lines, we would receive evidence of a 5-hour cycle having occurred. However, because cycles are a fractal in the market, you can use the evidence of shorter and shorter and shorter cycles to actually place your trades. And Sentient Trader is taking a very aggressive stance, and it's saying if I get evidence of a 10-minute cycle having occurred, or even if I get evidence of a 5-minute cycle having occurred, then I will buy. And so you can see it's just updated again, and there you can see the bought line, this green line here, and it says bought over there. So in fact, its stop entry order got triggered, and it entered the market. Now, why does Sentient Trader set a buy level over there? Well, I hope you can see this purple dashed line here. I hope you can see that purple dashed line. That is called a VTL, a valid trend line. It's a cyclic tool that provides evidence that that a trough in a cycle has occurred, and when price crosses that trough, then that is evidence that that is the VTL of the 3-minute cycle. So it's a very, very short cycle. So when price crosses that VTL level, then we have evidence that a trough of the next longer cycle, in fact, the 6-minute cycle, or 7-minute cycle, I think we call it, the 7-minute cycle has formed a trough. Now, to enter a trade on that basis is very aggressive, because when you're talking about such short cycles as the 7-minute cycle, markets, as and you are no doubt aware, can experience a lot of noise. And when you're tracking very short cycles like the 7-minute cycle, you have to be very careful. And Sentient Trader, as you can see, has taken made a very aggressive move. It's entered a trade right at that VTL. It hasn't even waited for price to cross it. It's waited for price simply to touch it, and it enters the trade. Okay, we don't recommend doing such aggressive trading, of course. But once you know what you're doing with Sentient Trader, you can add your own degree of aggressiveness, if you like, or degree of confidence in what's happening. If this was a very overdue 5-hour trough, then you could afford to be much more aggressive. So let me turn that off and see if there is an update. Yes, I think there is an update on the chart. As you can see, having entered the long trade, the market immediately moved down a little bit, which is what will very often happen as cycles are just coming out of a trough. It's almost as if the cycles are like dogs climbing out of a swimming pool or a lake. They sort of shake themselves. So what will happen after a trough happens is you get a bit of movement around there. So we'll have to wait and see which way this move is going to resolve itself. Obviously, of course, we hope it's going to resolve itself to the upside. As you can see, there's some trading information at the top left of the chart. On 52 contracts. Of 1.33647, and our current profit loss on this trade, we're losing $114.37. That kind of thing is not unusual for after the first bar having entered a trade. And as you develop your knowledge and experience as a cyclic trader, you will know that you need to see. Don't panic yet. Don't exit just because you're in a losing trade. You need to give the cycle a bit of time to solidify and to see what's going to happen. These sort of jagged lines on the chart are FLD lines. FLD stands for future lines of demarcation. So those are also tools that are used to make trading decisions. There we go. The chart has just updated, and as you can see, price has moved in our favor, and so a fairly aggressive trade has paid off. And at the moment, it might still be too early to say. The trade's not over, of course, until it's been exited. But as you can see here, our profit loss has now come up to $130 roughly for this trade. The cycles, after a little bit of shaking, look as if they are resolving to the upside. A few interesting things have happened here. The first thing is that immediately Sentient Trader, having entered a long trade, it has positioned a long stop loss level over here. The long stop loss level is the level at which it would exit from this trade. If price was to plunge down through that level, then it would prove Sentient Trader wrong in its cycle reasoning. The reason why it entered the trade. Now, of course, the reason why it entered the trade was because it thought a 5-hour cycle trough had formed. But now something else very interesting has happened, and that is that the analysis has changed. If you have a look at this, you can see that Sentient Trader has shifted these troughs and has said, actually, it doesn't think that this is a trough of the 5-hour cycle. Sorry, I needed to cough quickly. So the analysis has shifted. Now, analysis changing when you're in a trade is a vital thing that you need to be aware of. If you'll excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink of water, and I'm going to close my microphone for a moment. Sorry about that. I'm not in the best of health today. And we're going to have to probably bring Trader's Chat to an end fairly soon. What I was saying is that a shifting analysis Sorry about that. I had a brief coughing fit, which I hopefully spared you by closing my microphone. Where was I? Yes. What I was saying is that when an analysis changes and you're in a trade, it's a very, very important. It's a very important moment. It's something that does often happen. And Sentient Trader, if you like, keeps a memory of why it entered the trade. So it knows that it entered the trade on the basis of this trade, the trough of the 5-hour cycle. When the analysis changes and shifts, what usually happens is that, in fact, the strength of that trough merely changes in its magnitude. So Sentient Trader remembers why it entered the trade, and as the analysis changes, if the analysis changes in such a way that it realizes the reason why it entered the trade was entirely wrong, then it will set tight stops and it will exit that trade. If, on the other hand, even though the analysis has changed, the analysis is still in favor of the trade, then it will keep its options open and it won't immediately exit the trade. That's a very important thing. When I was developing Sentient Trader, I had worked with many other software packages which would suggest that you entered a trade, then they would change their analysis on whatever theory they were based upon, and they would forget the reason why you'd entered the trade in the first place. So that's a really important thing. So I think I have to bring today's Trader Chat to an end fairly soon, because of this absurd bronchitis that I seem to have. But I hope that this has given you some insight to what Sentient Trader is doing. I'd like to point out the analysis has shifted again slightly, so you can see the trough we're trading off is now maybe considered to be of only 20-minute strength and not, in fact, 5-hour strength. So Sentient Trader will adjust its exit levels as that trade plays out. I hope that that you all have the URL so that you can go and take a look at the live analysis system yourself, and that you can continue to watch the trades playing out and see how they form in the market, and how the trading decisions that Sentient Trader makes are informed by the phasing analysis that it does. I'd like to thank you very much for being with me again today for Trader Chat. I do apologize for bringing the session to an end fairly early, but you couldn't keep me away from doing a Trader Chat completely, so I thought better to do a short Trader Chat than not do one at all. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much for all your messages for good health. And I do look forward to seeing you next week.